Now we come to the last page of rules, which uh, there have been a few pages, but overall there's relatively few rules once you understand how they work. So, at the end of a match, the match is 2.5 minutes. At the end of the match, technicians must stop their robot and touch nothing else. So, if the robot's moving when the buzzer goes off, you want to make sure you stop it. And this is a case where you are allowed to stop it before the end of the match, as long as you're not trying to relaunch it. You have to inform the referees what's happening. So this is a way to kind of make sure the table stays in perfect condition so the referees can score it, because this is when the scoring happens. So rule 2 here, for scoring, all mission requirements must be visible at the end of the match. So if you scored something in the first 30 seconds, but then the last 30 seconds your robot bumped it or unscored it, you're going to lose those points. So pay very close attention there. In Rule 3, this is applying to when we say something being completely in. In general, this works a lot like the analogy I use is football, American football, because it kind of has a really close analog here. And that's that to score a touchdown, the ball has to break the plane, which means the borders of the field go up in the air infinitely. That's what this rule is saying, is that all of the lines, all of the borders, that space extends upward infinitely into airspace. So unless the rules say otherwise, like on the mat. So as long as you're breaking the plane or not breaking the plane, that's what this is referring to. So the airspace above that area counts as in unless otherwise indicated. So pay close attention to when something is in or completely in. Rule 4 applies not to your match score, but to your gracious professionalism points. So when you run a match, that's how you earn points. But playing a match is also how you get your gracious professionalism points. So if you can't play a match for whatever reason, all your batteries are dead and you can't get replacements, or something broke and you can't fix it, and you would be better served trying to make repairs than trying to do your second match. These are all valid reasons, and there are a ton of other valid reasons why you maybe can't run a match. However, you can still get your gracious professionalism points, which count towards your core values score, as long as you can explain the situation or just be present at the match. So even if you can't run your robot, you still need to have team members at the field with the referees, talking to them, telling them what's going on, being present for the match, maybe cheering for the other team that's actually running on their table when they are able to. A lot of ways you can get your gracious professionalism points even if you can't run in your match. Now, this is a very rare case. Ideally, you're going to be at every match running your robot. So we're going to hope this rule doesn't apply. You won't have to worry about it, but keep that in mind. Rule 5 is talking about the score becoming official. And so I can't speak for all regions, but in our region, the final score sheet is dealt with between the referee and the student. So one student goes up to the referee walks through the score sheet and says, and here's an example of a score sheet, for the mission 1, you met this requirement, boom, you did this. For mission 2, you did this, you didn't do this, you got these points. All the way down through mission 15, you did this, mission, and then the precision tokens, you did this. Here are all the things you did. Do you agree or disagree? And that's the time for the technician to say, okay, I agree with that. I see how we did that. Or you can say, well, I don't know. Are you sure about that? Because I think we did this. And so that's where that conversation happens. If there's a disagreement that is not resolvable between the student and the referee, then the head referee is called over and the head referee makes the final decision. So that's what this is noting here. The head referee makes the final decision. Once the score sheet is agreed to and signed off on by the technician, it is official. After that point, no more disputes can be raised on that score sheet. So, let's say that the student goes up, the student and the referee go through the process, they come to an agreement, they sign off on the score sheet, it gets entered into the scoring system, it's official. And then later on, after the end of match 2, the student thinks, or another student on the team thinks, that there might have been a mistake in the first sheet. It doesn't matter if there was a mistake or not. At that point, it is official and not open to dispute. So the only time to dispute a score sheet is before it is agreed to between the technician and the referee. And so that is when that happens. The thing to remember also is that only the best score counts. So you'll play your 3 matches. Only your best score counts towards awards and advancement. So don't worry too much about your average score or your second best score. The highest score is what matters. And to kind of go a little bit deeper into that, the score itself does not matter. What matters is the ranking of the teams. So if there's 8 teams at the event, we will look at the highest score for each of the 8 teams and then rank the teams 1 to 8. The thing that matters is their rank number, 1 to 8. So if one team gets 220 points and the next team gets 200 points, then they're rank 1 and rank 2. It doesn't matter that it was a difference of 20 points. If it's a difference of 5 points, 20 points, or 100 points, the points don't matter. What matters is the ranking. So that's something we usually remind people of, because if your top score is 400 and you're only getting 380, but you're still getting the top score, getting 20 more points will not improve your performance at the event. It'd be nice to get the best points you can get, but what matters is the ranking, not the total points. And one last thing to note here is that during this time of the match, you may not see a score when you're going through the score sheet with the referee. In our region, what we prefer to do is just go through the checklist and say, you did this, you did this, you did this, because that's easier to keep track of than points. And then once the student and the referee agree to all the things that the student did, then the scorekeeper will enter that into the scoring system, and the scoring system will actually convert that to a point score. So one of the things that I've seen happen before is a team try to protest a score they got because they thought they should have gotten more points than they did. But what ended up happening is that the team was miscalculating because they did not understand or have the complete picture of the math that needed to go in to calculate the score that the scoring system had. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is that just because the score doesn't match what you're expecting, you can ask for the scorekeeper to double check the score. We keep the score sheets and we keep the scores, so they can double check that they entered it incorrectly. But if it's entered incorrectly, then that is the score you receive. So keep in mind that when you do your scoring, it's all about the checklist. And at the end of the day, what matters is your rank, not your total points.